All right, let's talk about Saturday. First regular season Big East title in school history. Yeah. Tell me what that experience was like.
It was awesome. Obviously, we clinched a share the game before on Wednesday night against Providence, and so we had the opportunity to celebrate it. But, you know, this was our 5th year in the league. Nobody had won a regular season title outside of Villanova, so obviously everybody knows how good they've been for so many years. So it was special, especially the fact that you know, we have 3 seniors who've been with me for 4 years and have tried to climb that mountaintop, and to get there was awfully rewarding. You
mentioned the seniors. Like, this is one of the reasons you guys are a likely 1 seed. One of the reasons you guys are a favorite to make the Final Four is in college basketball in 2018, a lot of youth. And you guys are very old for college basketball terms. How much has that changed the way you can coach this team when you have guys who are used to you, used to your system, and given the run last year, used to high-level success?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have a really good mix of young guys and veterans. But I think when you get to the point where your team is coaching the team, not that I don't have much of a role at all, but the seniors do a really good job. You know, Tony Dungy calls it regenerative leadership, where your oldest players teach the younger players, and not necessarily just on the court, but the way you carry yourself, the way you travel, your practice habits. And when I have guys that are seniors that are looking at me in the eye in every huddle like they're freshmen, it's something that you know, you want as a coach, and I'm very fortunate.
I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good coaches in my life, coaches that have influenced me, ones that I've never played for. Even Coach Izzo, him and I text about once a week to stay in contact with each other. You mentioned Tony Dungy. Who are some of the other coaches that have had an influence on you and what you do at Xavier? Well, I think you're a culmination of everybody that you either played for or worked with. Certainly my high school coach, the late Dick Burning, was a guy that, you know, always kept it about family. And, you know, when practice was over, you know, and you had 3 turnovers, you know, he wasn't up your tail, and you felt like you could be in a comfortable space with Coach. You know, Skip Prosser was the first guy that brought me into college coaching, passed away in 2007. He was an assistant when I played at Xavier. And, you know, Coach just had a great way about him. There wasn't a person that met Coach that would have a negative thing to say about him. And then obviously Sean Miller, who I was the assistant for 5 years at Xavier. So also, one more, real quick. You talk about those coaches. You talk about your senior guys, them getting their first title this year. How rewarding is it? Because other coaches, other publications, they have recognized you, one of the 10 finalists for the Naismith Coach of the Year honor. How does that feel, given all these coaches and the influence that they've had on you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't worry about those individual things. I want to do the best job for my guys. And, you know, I think we have a great group, a group that's fun to coach. I want to be around guys that I like to be around. And that's really, really important to me. And, you know, again, when you have guys that have been with you for 4 years, they've heard every locker room speech, they've heard every halftime talk, they've heard the same message over and over, but yet they stay the same coachable guys they were as freshmen. It's very, very unique, and, again, I'm really fortunate.
Coach, when I get a group of my girlfriends together and we go back to college once a year, it's like big-time fun. It's a blast. You get to actually coach at your alma mater, not with my girlfriends, because that would be awkward. What is that? What's that experience like? Just to continue to be around it.
It's great. I mean, if you've never been to Xavier, the thing that I would say describes it the best is just community or family. You know, I tell people all the time in recruiting that when they come on campus and you're hosting a high school student with their parents, you tell them, hey, listen, this isn't for everybody. You know, the person that you run into on a Monday, you're going to see them on Tuesday. You know, it's not Big State U where you may not see somebody for a couple months. I mean, so you better treat the janitors right. You better treat the people that open up the loading dock so you can get in the gym and get shots up every single night. And so Xavier's a special place.
I want to talk about, obviously, the reason you're in New York City, the Big East tournament. It's very different for you guys going into the tournament, Big East tournament this year than last year. I think it's fair to say last year, had you lost your opening game, you might not end up in the NCAA tournament. You were even, despite winning.
Thanks for reminding me. No, it's fun.
No, it ended up being great. You guys made a run to the Elite Eight as a team.
That's Nick Wright. He makes plenty of friends wherever he goes.
But I mean, if people don't remember Xavier last year, Xavier was an 11 seed going into the tournament. A great story getting to the Elite Eight. This year, it's very different. Obviously, you want to win this championship, but what you are fighting for now is, are you going to be a 1 seed? Are you going to be a 2 seed? Things like that, and the ability to cut down the nets in a few days at MSG. How different is the approach, if at all, going into the tournament now this year compared to what you were telling your team last year?
Yeah, I don't know if the approach is different, but I'm sure the mentality of our players is a little different. You know, we came into the tournament last year with a huge sense of urgency, and you know, it's hard to foster that. It's hard to create that. But I do think that we have, again, keep going back to the word seniors, but guys that they want to go out the right way. They don't want to be a one-hit wonder here in the Big East tournament, arrive on a Wednesday and leave on a Thursday. So hopefully we're at our best. We're either going to play St. John's or Georgetown, two guys that are used to being in the Garden, right. And it should be a good one.
Well, Coach, we can't afford for you to go out Thursday because Nick and I have tickets for Friday and for Saturday. All right, so we can't afford that. Now, following up your first Big East, how important is the tournament to continue that momentum and to potentially get a higher seed in the big dance?
I think you want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year when, you know, let's face it, everybody remembers these games. The season matters the most. I mean, you probably wouldn't have me here if we weren't in Elite Eight the year before. So, you know, that's one of the things that everybody points to is March. And so we do want to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year, and we get that started tomorrow at noon.
Talked about the strength of the conference a little bit. You guys have two of the best programs in the country right now. Not the biggest conference, so just a little bit about the competition that you have to face all season long and what a testament it is to where you guys are right now.
Well, a year ago we had 7 teams in the NCAA tournament, and I think sometimes they talk about, you know, the ACC and other, you know, other conferences,
12, right.
Yeah, getting 8, 9. Well, we only have 10 teams in our league, and when you're getting 70% of the teams in the NCAA tournament,
it's impressive.
It is impressive. Now, I think this year you're probably looking at 6 teams making the tournament.
Major disappointment.
Yeah. But the other thing I would tell you is I don't think you have to go that far. If you look at the team that finished in 9th place in our league, St. John's, they had a streak where they beat Villanova. They took us down to the wire. They beat Duke. You know, in MSG. If you can take down Villanova and Duke in the same week, it says a lot about your talent level, and I think that's what our league looks like as a whole.
Do you think your players are, I know you got to focus on your own games, but you guys, in a tournament environment, you get to see the other teams playing because they're all in the same building. You think your players are rooting for Villanova on the other side of the bracket? You guys have had an amazing season, haven't been able to beat them yet. You could have a third shot at it, obviously, at 6:30 on Saturday. Do you think your players, I know you're going to say you don't care, do you think your players are rooting for Villanova?
No, I think they're probably playing Xbox up in their room. You think,
like my staff.
You think I'm kidding?
Yeah. No. Talk about one of those players, Trevor Blewett. How impressed? Trayvon. Excuse me. I got a Trayvon in my life. Trayvon Grimes, wide receiver at Florida. So I get my Trayvons mixed up. Talk about his senior year and how impressed you were personally with his performance and how his game grew.
Well, I think, number one, Trayvon's always been a prolific scorer ever since he came to us as a freshman. But what's been really impressive in his senior year is the efficiency in which he's done it. You know, obviously, when you become the player that he is, everybody's circling you on the scouting report. You're getting everybody's best shot. You're getting everybody's best defender. And for him to have the type of year that he had, and really the consistency that he's had all the way through, says a lot about the character, his work ethic, not to mention, obviously, his ability level.
Would you consider this year the best team you guys have had?
I don't worry about those considerations.
Well, I'm worried about it.
Are you?
I'm very worried. I'm losing sleep over it. So,
you know, I just, as I said in the very beginning, I really enjoy coaching this team. I try not to compare teams. They have a personality that's very, very unique, and one I really enjoy coaching. I'm hopeful that I can continue coaching all the way through April.
Obviously, Coach, you took over for Sean Miller at Xavier. You obviously know him. What was your reaction to the ESPN story and then his very vehement denial from a few days ago refuting that story?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, it's left a black mark, not only the episode with Sean, but some of the other things that have been going on in college basketball. And, you know, we could probably spend 5-10 minutes here. Obviously, I love Sean to death. He gave me a great opportunity at Xavier. I just wish that, you know, the facts would really come out and people could speak accurately on what is the truth. It seems like the story's changed over and over, and I don't see Sean coming out of his shoes like that if there wasn't some merit or some belief on his end that he isn't involved to the level that that they've said.
When you said everything going around it, how much harder has it made your job, the entire black cloud of this FBI probe around all of college basketball? I know you're not directly involved, but just everything, the recruiting and all the news around the NCAA these last, I don't know, 9 months.
Well, it hasn't made my job any more difficult, but I think it has, cast a stain a little bit on college basketball. That, there are a lot of good people in this sport. There are a lot of good coaches that do it the right way, that teach their kids values that go well beyond the basketball court. So, from that standpoint, it's disappointing. Again, I could go on and on. I think agents getting involved with kids when they're 8th graders, 9th graders is a huge part of the problem. And hopefully Mark Emmert and the people that are putting together a think group can make some changes that help all college basketball.
Chris Mack, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good luck in the Big East tournament.
We'll see.
Thank you. I might put you in uniform.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.